Welcome back into the Sports Source. Folks, this segment brought to you by Safety Systems. Let's say you want a state-of-the-art home theater system, but you don't want it to ruin the look of your living room. Easy solution. Call VFL JJ Surlis. He will show you how the Safety Systems crew has TVs that drop down from the ceiling, rise up from a cabinet, or hide behind a family painting. Safety Systems. All right. Back with Bob, Mike, Josh, Chuck over at the Safety Systems big board. I want to show you some numbers there. Hopefully you can get a look at that and see that. What I've done is compile the 5-star, 4 stars, and 3 stars according to Rivals over the last 3 signing classes for each school in the SEC. Tallied them up. For example, Tennessee, if you had 7 5-stars, that's 35 points. 39 4-stars, that's some amount of points. 33 3-stars, that's 99. You add all that up. Tennessee's get 290 total points, more than Alabama, more than anyone else in the conference over the last 3 years. If you're wondering about Ole Miss, their great class was 4 years ago, not 3 years ago. So you look at Butch Jones, the years he's had, the full year to recruit, better than anybody in the league. Now, there's no denying that over there on the far right, the signees, you've signed more than anyone else, but still, you look at the talent coming in, guys. Butch Jones has said that he's not going to shirk away from loftier expectations. We're at Tennessee. This is what we work for. That's his quote. He's going to get the loftier expectations. When you look at those kind of numbers, are you surprised that Tennessee was that high? Anyone surprised or no?
I'm surprised.
Yes.
Even with the higher signing numbers, I think it was surprising that they were that high.
I am too, yeah.
You brought in a lot of talent.
Yeah, if you told me Tennessee's second, I would have absolutely believed that.
Right.
Passing Alabama, that does surprise me. And then you look at the board and look at the gap with Georgia and then Florida down the list. Those are the teams you're trying to catch in the East, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's helping Tennessee do that.
Yeah, and you look at down toward the bottom, you've got in the bottom 5, Kentucky, Missouri, and Vanderbilt. And here's the thing. Missouri didn't have to recruit great with Gary Pinkel. He could coach him up. I'm not so sure about Dave Odom. I don't know what he's going to do there, so we'll see about that.
No, the bottom 5 look like what you would pretty much expect the bottom 5 to be, with the exception of Missouri.
Well, and the good thing is, if you're Tennessee, 3 of your East Division rivals are in the bottom 5.
And it was surprising too. Arkansas at that far down with 0 5-stars.
Bielema never really recruited that well at Wisconsin. If you go back and look at what he did at Wisconsin, it wasn't fantastic either. He's a guy that typically, that style he plays, he shortens the games and runs over you, and he doesn't need the biggest 5-star guys to do it. Usually tries to get a 4 or 5-star running back.
Right.
Josh, did you have something else you wanted to throw in there? You were looking at me.
No, I think that overall, when you look at the talent, that's what Tennessee has to make up to be able to catch these teams.
Yes.
And Florida, that gap I think is the most telling of where the Gators are. Plus, they had several that decided to go pro early. Then you look at quarterback, big advantage there. That's what should, I think, make Tennessee the favorite in the East this year.
And
That's a great point.
Bob mentioned Alabama. Hasn't Alabama had 5 straight top 3 classes nationally? And then you're ahead of them on this chart here?
They've been number 1 in the nation in 6 of the last 7 years. But they haven't signed 56 guys in a year like Tennessee has. That's the thing that changes it a bit. All right, now, let's look at that's the good news. 2016 looks great. Let's look at 2017. Folks that might be out of here on offense. Now, seniors and juniors here. These are just key contributors, and I didn't list everybody, but there's 10. All right, you're going to lose Dobbs. You're going to lose Wiseman for sure. But you look at all those other juniors in there that could depart next year. And if you're sitting there right now saying, oh, that guy's not going to go pro, a month ago, how many people would have said Marquez North would go pro?
Correct.
So don't go putting all these, he's not going to, Coleman Thomas didn't go anywhere. If Coleman Thomas has a great year, decides he wants to get out of here and go sign a minimum roster somewhere and make $400,000 a year, these guys could leave. Now let's look at defense. All right, and you see some seniors there too. Corey Vereen, Reeves Maben, Sutton, Martin, Foreman. You got some juniors in there.
And you could add Kongbo.
I was about to say, you don't have Jonathan Kongbo on that list. When you look at 2016, all signs are bright. When you look at 2017, it could be back to one of those classes, Josh, where Tennessee has to cast a wide net and grab as many bodies as they can, especially running backs, defensive line, and maybe offensive line.
Yeah, they like the running backs they've recruited the last couple of years with Carlin Fields-Aimee in this class, John Kelly, but you got to go get your next Jalen Hurd next year. And you can do that. You can get a running back that can come in right away. And then, Kongbo, you hope that he doesn't pull a Cordero Patterson. If he comes in and gives you 1 year, you better hope it's a championship year.
Well, it's one of those things when you look at those guys and what they can bring next year. If they have another season like they did this year running the football, Tennessee should be in the mix for 2 or 3 of the top backs in America. to come here. If your defensive line does what on paper it looks like it could do this year, again, you should be up there with the Alabamas and the LSU. You're already in that mix, but you should be way up in there in that mix, if that makes sense. That yes, on signing day, Tennessee is up there with the best of the best. Ohio State, Alabama, Southern Cal, or Tennessee. Because if they do what they're supposed to do, and you have these holes next year, there's immediate playing time for some of the best guys in the country.
And I really think that if you go back and you look at those lists, if people write those down, there will be probably 2 of those guys, and I can't predict who it's going to be. I don't think anybody, but there's going to be a couple of those guys that you have no suspicion they may be leaving that's going to. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Jalen Hurd or Kamara, simply because running backs have a short shelf life. But I think you'll see some of the others do it too.
Okay, very good. Very quickly.
I think at this point, Tennessee fans, you trust Butch Jones to have a plan and get guys here because that's what he's done.
Well, that's the fun. Good way to end it. Remember 3 years ago or 4 years ago when he was hired? This Yankee with all those Michigan guys from the Big East, they can't recruit in the South and the SEC. I guess they can. All right. When we come back, Peyton Manning in the big game today, we will discuss that with our very special prop bets tied into Tennessee basketball. Should be fun. Come on back.